My name's Art Shaffer, director at AstraZeneca.
My name is Maggie. I'm a senior scientist at AstraZeneca.
Everyone, I'm John, but people call me Bethesda. See, I joined AstraZeneca about 7.5 years ago.
The first question that I have is what exactly is the industry and pharmaceuticals? Just a little bit more about what not just you do, but what pharmaceuticals encompasses.
So pharma's still new to me after all those years at the National Cancer Institute. And I guess maybe the new lessons, or the thing that really became clear of how the pharmaceutical industry works in this country and kind of across the world, because AstraZeneca is an international company, is that the way drugs get made and ultimately vetted and to patients is really entirely through the pharmaceutical industry. The U.S. government, funds research, but the U.S. government doesn't make drugs. NCI doesn't make drugs. Academic institutions really don't make drugs. They come up with great ideas, but then ultimately they have to come to a Pfizer, an AstraZeneca, a GlaxoSmithKline, Bristol Myers Squibb, to turn that into reality. So that's, at least from my perspective, where the pharma industry sits. It really takes the ideas and turns them into something that makes people better.
How do you get the idea? How do you who do you contact to get the research into what you want? For example, you guys are doing cancer research. Well, not making cancer antibiotics. Who are you looking to for research on this?
Ourselves, really. So that's one of the nice things that they consulting perspective from it is that we're surrounded by lots of living scientists. People who are experts in their little niches. So if we have a question that we think could be answered, we can obviously go into literature and read and see what else is out there. Two, also just talk to all people that we know are the experts in our field and get a read on what needs to be done. And we have to do the research ourselves. So we do that science quite a bit. Quite heavily done in pharma. We did science about 2 years ago first. So we have research questions, we answer them ourselves, validated with other people in the literature as well. We're collaborating with academics as well, just across the organization. Try to get it.
What do you do? What would be a typical day?
Well, I think we're all a little bit different, but I want Maggie to start on that one.
Pretty sure both of these just have meetings all day long. meeting every hour. My calendar doesn't look like that yet. So mine's more some meetings, maybe 20% of the time, meeting people, meeting groups, and talking about plans. And then a portion of my time is at the bench doing cell culture, different types of experiments and assays. And then the other part would be, I guess you would call it data mining, programming, scripting to put some data together, or reading the literature to data mine, that kind of thing. So mine's much more variable. So it's definitely, that's the cool thing. Well, science for me has always been, my day is never the same, ever. Different plans, different experiments, different time points, different meetings, different groups, different goals. So you have to keep track of what you're doing. Yeah, it's never boring, ever.
Is there anything outside of the general school that you recommend to do during your high school career that you would recommend do if you want to pursue this type of career?
This doesn't have to be your choice forever, but find your passion for now. So whether that's biology, chemistry, it doesn't even have to be in STEM. If it's public speaking or organizing, start there. Start with something you like, and don't make choices if you can, either based on pressure from the outside, because you're going to be most happy if you follow the things that make you happy. At least that's been my experience.
Half of leisure business.
Yeah.
And you said you did a summer research.
Yeah, it depends how interested you are, I guess. So one of my favorite quotes from Ryan was that I say all the time when people ask me, what's the path you should take to get where you're at? Her famous lines was, you can never know your path unless you walk it. So to that point, it kind of means that So for me, I know like scientists, I'm doing internships in the summer working in labs, kind of figuring out what that's like. I'm not saying that that's recommended or people who want to get into science. I have friends that actually didn't get into science, but well, after they graduated from college, they decided to go back to school and self-taught themselves into graduate school and so on and so forth. After getting this degree as well. So it can be winding. Exactly, follow your passion, walk in. Don't be afraid to take chances. I would say with a good thing. Happens is nice, but sometimes you might just have to throw a dagger in there and go somewhere that's uncomfortable just to see if you like it and maybe pleasantly surprised. But if not, not do it again. You have lots of time. It might seem like you have not a lot of time and you need to get everything out. You have a lot of time.
What do you guys think of using like AI for like data mining, like articles?
We're in it. AZ has an increasing investment in AI for basically everything, drug discovery, applying AI to what we know about our patients to see if we can stratify them or treat them in better ways. Yeah, AI is not going away. It's basically already baked into the biomedical complex. Where we get a drug, up to the point where we want to go to regulators like the FDA for approvals. As you can imagine, there is a ton of paperwork, and AstraZeneca is just now going to deploy AI to help us with that paperwork. Put the data in, and it will format and fill in the blanks. And of course, then we have to check it. But all that manual writing, paragraph after paragraph, that burden will be taken, hopefully taken off of us, because it is a lot of kind of template stuff. So even things like that are changing.
Does that make it harder to distribute drugs to other countries where their governments may have like some regulations on the drugs or like collaborative?
Yeah, so I'm just, having been at AZ a relatively short time and having just a couple projects, actually one project now, really, actually two I'm involved in are in the clinic, and they're opening sites in the U.S. The one we talked about today is opening their sites in Korea. We want to open in Japan, but every country's regulatory system is different. So like I was saying, AstraZeneca has all these different departments and groups. We have a whole regulatory group. And there's like the Asia expert and the Europe expert and the expert for each regulatory region. And it's really interesting to see, what are the requirements worldwide. What's kind of nice is most of the world keys off what the FDA does. So we make the FDA happy, we make most of the world happy. But there are always little exceptions.
Is it common for people to switch between academia side of things and then the industry, or is it more like once you're in one side that you generally stick to that part?
Starting academia, not industry, and vice versa. It's a little bit tricky in when you do that and how you do it. But it's definitely doable.
Well, maybe that'll lead to a question I'm going to ask Maggie. So, you're still, compared to John and I, you're an early career scientist. And you were at NIH, which is what I was calling pseudo-academia. What was some of the thought process around you coming to join us at AZ versus staying on the academic track?
Yeah. So, so when I was in college, I was on the med school route, and then I realized that I was in the library on Saturday while all of my friends were out tailgating, and realized that, I was in the library studying for an exam and realized that this isn't the life that I wanted. I don't want to memorize things, which is what a lot of MDs have to do, to have, a full knowledge of what they're treating. And so it's canned all of my med school applications and decided to go to grad school. Well, I had my applications ready for grad school, Teach for America, and the Peace Corps, and thinking that I was going to go to grad school and getting a paycheck while I get a degree, while I figure out what I want to do. Same thing with Teach for America, getting experience for the Peace Corps. And I got into grad school, so I went to graduate school because the path of least resistance for me was science. It was easy for me to think about. I liked it. It wasn't forcing me to be in the library doing something I didn't want to do. It was learning something that I enjoyed. So when I was in that graduate school lab, when I was trying to figure out what I wanted my life to look like, it felt very isolated, like very closed off. Whereas like it was just our lab, it was just our team, like it was just the people that you worked with to try and get your project. You had a committee that you had to like have people sign off on. And so the professor route was never really the route that I wanted to do. So the person that I worked for was very, very against industry. So the advice that I got was to not tell him what I really wanted to do so that he wouldn't yell at me, basically. So, but the next step from graduate school, the advice that I got was to do a postdoc so that you can get more experience to figure out, again, which route you wanted to do. Because I knew that I never really wanted to stay in academia anyway. So I was so grateful to get this postdoc position at the NCI, moving out of Florida, and which was like kind of like a go-between academia and industry. It's like this government kind of environment, and it was more people that I liked, and it was more, different aspects, like more clinicians and trying to get the project up and running. And then I started leaning more into wanting to move into industry, and always wanting to like head in that direction. So, yeah, the interviewing process was always for a biotech job or pharmaceutical job, and so very, very happy to be here.
Do the data points or like the access you have to like the needs of people, like it's like something you guys drive, the type of research you guys?
100%.
Therapeutic area strategy.
Yeah, definitely.
If you like strategic thinking, that's exactly where it comes in. We get input both from our internal clinicians and external academics and clinicians to find out. I mean, one of our buzz words or buzz phrases is unmet need. So, is there a disease where things just aren't good for the patients no matter what happens, and can we make it right? We'll fix that. So, yeah, we get a lot of input from the outside. And every year, even more than once a year, we reassess what the strategy is going to be for that year. Because we do have limited resources in time and people, so we have to focus.
Yeah, beyond data points, even just, I think to see your question specifically, as there data points associated with.
Or like interactions, like access to like just gaining a larger scope of like the issues within like the United States, like how that's kind of like processed or like taken in.
Policy and various things, yeah, so, yes, those that really make you drive. Especially, as I pointed out, talking to clinicians, a common thing like, for example, specific verbal neuropathy that happens a lot of times with certain drugs that we do. And if you look at the data point, that's when I ask this question. A lot of times you might say, so there's these 4 different grades. What do you call adverse events in trials? So how serious it is. And a very common grade 1, which is considered very low grade verbal neuropathy. We talk to clinicians, they say, well, that grade 1, even though on paper might be low, to the patient, it's devastating. Old, not being able to keep themselves, they're feeling number 2, they get a grade. It's very, very hard. We've been told by many clinicians that if there was a drug that was equally good as another drug that didn't cause verbal neuropathy, even at grade 1, that's an issue. So that'd be an example where we just look at data points, we wouldn't talk to the clinician, the patient experience in our minds, let's try to.
Do you find that you still playing high pressure? Do you feel like you have a good work-life balance?
No. I'm still finding my way. You can find it.
Yeah, I think it all depends. I'm happy with my work-life balance personally. Be a little bit more light, but also guys really like it. But because of kids and all that, so I think you honestly don't really have a choice. Something like balance. But it could be better or worse, depending on your personality. It's like doctors do that, right? It's like choose to work 5 hours a week and they get it done. I made a choice to work 50-hour week.
I like this answer. I'll take it.
Great.
Thank you all so much for
Thanks,
coming.
guys.
lunch is almost over. So,
Go eat.
yeah. And if anyone else here wants like to like these panels an email or something, ask further questions, they're here to offer.
I know everybody.
They can ask you later on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, everyone has to leave early, we can just pass it along.
Yeah.
Yeah.